absolutely incredible. Here's another pro tip for you. Astrology is kind of like church. I'm like a preacher now. The land of unicorns and fairy tales. A new vision, a new dream, a new goal. Boom, we're stepping into the fog of Pisces. Aren't we really feeling it? Hi, my friends. I'm Meredith, your evolutionary astrologer, and boy, do I have a video for you today. If you are watching this anytime between January 2025 and April 2026, you gotta buckle in and hold on to your hats because it is gonna be a little bit of a windy ride. But with this video and with the knowledge of astrology, I think honestly, we will be able to make our lives and even quite possibly make the world a little better place. So we right now with this nodal axis shift into Pisces and Virgo, and we're going to go so deep into it, and I have so much to say, so I've got to talk really, really fast. We are building a new storyline for our lives personally, and we are also seeing a new storyline being built for us collectively. Aren't we really feeling it? I mean, it has already been a super just explosive start to 2025. And I also feel like time is moving quite quickly. There are a lot of powerful transits this year, and I will be talking about them in my Sunday's videos. So tune in every single Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time to see the next topic that we're talking about and to learn the deeper truth of astrology. I'm going to give you some really deep truths, not the superficial flat meaning of this nodal axis shift and change and what it means for you, but I'm really going to go into the deeper material of what is the universe asking for us, what is it creating for us, what are the new opportunities and the challenges, and how does it even work, okay? I'm going to tell you, we're stepping into the fog of Pisces, and so things are going to become even more interesting and even more weird and, truthfully, even more confusing. Pisces energy can sometimes feel like you're walking through the fog in the forest, and even a headlamp or a flashlight can't illuminate the way. You know how your headlights don't even work in thick fog? As the nodes of the moon shift from Aries and Libra into Pisces and Virgo, it is going to last until April 2026. In this video, I'm not trying to give you all the bad news. If you're watching the news of any channel, any sort, any paper, anywhere, it's depressing. It also shows us that we have things to heal. I believe the healing power is where we need to focus our attention to right now. Healing our lives and healing our world. How? How are we going to do this? Through a transformation into our highest selves, removing the ego and surrendering into the oneness. That is the Pisces North Node. We are going to help others understand that we are all related as humans. We are all born as little tiny babies with the same exact potential to love, whether you are born into a wealthy family or a poor family, whether you're born into a multiracial family or not. You are born with the same exact ability to love, to receive and give love. Babies have no prejudice, and that's what makes them magical. Now, I want you to think of something. This is how I actually think about the problems in my own life, the challenges in my own life and the challenges in the world, and how I face them. If we don't have a wound, then we have nothing to heal. And I believe healing ourselves and helping others heal helps the collective heal. And in that, we can unite. And we can do that by finding more common ground through healing our angst, our worries, and our pain. So when you think about 2025 and the energy that has blasted into the world with the California fires, with Donald Trump taking office, with the peace deal in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, where the man ran over 14 people and injured 35 others in New Orleans on December 31st, January 1st, and where those 27 migrants and 83 more were capsized in their boats off the coast of Tanzania. The Cybertruck exploded in front of the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, where there's a civil war in Syria and Somalia, and there's gang wars in Haiti, right? And there's German economic crisis happening, and the president of South Korea got arrested and then barricaded himself and then finally was truly arrested. All of that I didn't mention, though, the giant, the largest dinosaur footprints that has ever been found in the United Kingdom. That was pretty exciting. But it's a lot. And there's a lot more. By the time you'll watch this, there will be 20 more things, right? I didn't tell you, and I'm not speaking of these things to create controversy or anything, but these are places in our lives that we need to take a serious look at. And a lot of people will be on this journey with us to enlightenment, not saying we'll find it in this lifetime, but we are on a pathway to raise the vibration and stand in that highest part of Pisces, which can be the great healer. You have to have a wound to have something to heal. So we've got a lot of wounds, right? And we're going to open up right now to new possibilities, to new energy, and to new growth, and to our own evolution, both in our own souls and as a collective on Earth, and maybe even in the cosmic realm. So the nodal shift for the world suggests that we're going to step into more global humanitarian efforts and needs and energies. And we're also going to see an absolutely amazing cultural revival of the artistic expression in music and film and cinema and art and dance. And there will also likely be a shift in focus on health and wellness and even alternative medicines. I think you're going to see that the environmental protections will actually increase over the next 18 months, especially our waters. We're also going to focus on mental health and our well-being opposed to culture grind of work. So what does it mean to be productive, healthy, and well in our work and in our daily lives? Hopefully, the healing takes place by creating a more inclusive, a more loving, a more sympathetic, empathetic, and compassionate relationship to yourself and to others. So let's talk about the details. I got to go into the math a little tiny bit because I want you to know a lot of people are sitting here thinking, Meredith, you're late. You're late. The nodes changed a long time ago. Well, this is what I want to say. I follow the mean nodes. I don't follow the true nodes. So the true nodes and the mean nodes switch at different times, and we're going to talk all about it. So over the past year and a half, the north node has been in Aries and the south node has been in Libra. January 28th, the mean nodes will change into Pisces and Virgo, with Virgo being the south node and Pisces stepping into the north node. Now, here's your first pro tip. You got to listen to this, okay? You've got to listen to this. The nodes move permanently in retrograde. They move permanently backwards, right? So on January 10th, write this down. It's very fascinating to look at it globally, and it's also really interesting to see your own personal story in this. On January 10th, the mean nodes sat at that power degree of 0 degrees Aries for the north node, and the south node was at 0 degrees Libra. And then it sat there on that degree until it moved backwards into Pisces, because Pisces is the sign, it's the very last sign of the zodiac, but it's behind Aries. It moved backwards into the sign of Pisces for the north node and Virgo for the south node, and it sat there at that 29th degree. The north node and the south node, I have to say, are always at the exact same degree at the exact same time. Just think of them like the North Pole and the South Pole. We're still going to go into this. So I just want to teach you how to think about the rotation of the nodes, and then we're going to go deep, deep, deep into the meaning. And this is a very profound video. This is going to be relevant until April 2026. So just hold on, because I want you to see how these nodes work, and then I want you to understand the storyline, okay? So another pro tip for you. You know the order of the zodiac, right? I know you do. So it's, right? You guys say it with me. Aries, and I want you to memorize it. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So memorize the order. And that is an absolutely critical foundation piece. Just do it with me. Keep rewinding this part of the video so you can walk around the house and say the signs in order. So now, remember, I told you that the nodes travel permanently backwards. So if we've been experiencing Aries and Libra, and we know they go backwards, not forward, right? What sign is traveling backwards from Aries? Pisces. Yeah. Boom. So we can also do this with the Libra South Node. So what sign occurs prior to Libra? You know that Scorpio is the next sign. So what is the sign prior to Libra? Virgo, right? So now you know that we're moving backwards. So we're moving out of Libra and into Virgo. And we start at the 29th degree, and then we'll go 28, 27, 26 until we get to 0 degrees. And then at 0 degrees, it flips into the next set of signs, which what comes before Virgo? Leo, right? And what comes before Pisces? Aquarius. So that's on deck. That combination is on deck in April 2026. But right now we're talking about this combination, which is Pisces and Virgo. And they always are in opposite signs at the same degree. So memorize the order so you can go forward, and you can also go backwards. Now, I was telling you I use the mean nodes. I don't use the true nodes, although those are the nodes that it sounds like I should be using. But just remember, Meredith uses the mean nodes. Mean Meredith, right? Because I'm so mean. Why do I use the mean nodes? Well, the mean nodes work with an average. The nodes kind of have a little bit of a wobble when they move. So they wobble backwards, right? They don't just move smoothly. The true node takes a picture of it right where it's at, where the mean node takes an average of the movement. And so it really matters if you are born on a 29th or a 0 degree node. And it matters if you are born on a 29th or 0 degree true node. I want you to go calculate the mean node and see if it flips. See if it flips into the next sign. You really have to study if you're born on the 29th or the 0 degree. And if you flip them to the mean or the true, do they change signs? Because we're going to go into the math in a minute, because the mean node happens later than the true node. Okay? So you might consider both sets. You might be a part of both sets. You might feel both sets, but you might lean more towards one than the other. You might not know which set you fall into if you're really young, because you might need more life experience to truly understand which nodal axis is your karmic story. You might not know your karmic story at 14. I certainly didn't. I didn't understand my karmic story at 18. I barely understood it at 28. So it might take time. So let's talk about this a little tiny bit more. So the nodes stay on a degree for a while. And if you are following the true nodes, they change signs on January 11th, 2025. And if you're following the mean nodes, they change signs on January 28th, 2025. So if you're born between January 11th and January 28th of 2025, you are one of those people that if you study the true nodes, it's going to say one thing. If you study the mean nodes, it's going to say another. So saying that, remember, if you're with me and you're into the mean nodes, they stayed at that explosive, powerful, dynamic 0 degree from January 10th to January 28th of 2025. And then they lived, or live, depending when you're watching this, at that 29th degree Pisces, right? Because they go backwards. So they started at the 29th degree of Aries and they went all the way down to the 0, and then they go backwards to the 29th degree of Pisces. You know that every single sign has 29 degrees, 59 minutes, right? You'll never see a 30. So they lived at that 29th degree of Pisces, North Node, and Virgo South Node from January 28th till February 17th. So if you're born between that time, you're going to get a 29th degree Pisces, Virgo, North and South Node, and you're going to need to really understand what the 29th degree means. The nodes live on a degree for about 18 days or 2.5 weeks. And that's a long time. That can create very, very, very deep reflection. And if you're leaning on the true nodes, if that's what you want to study, if that works for you, they lived on that 0 degree with the South Node in Libra and the North Node in Aries from December 31st until January 11th. And that's the most powerful degree of the zodiac. Then on January 11th, they lived on that 29th degree until January 24th. So now you can see if you're born within that pocket of time of change, it's really, really, really important for you to study both the mean and the true. I am a modern evolutionary astrologer, and I use the tropical Placidus house system. I tell you that because astrology is kind of like church. There are thousands of different kinds of astrology. So you need to know what kind of astrology I'm working with and I am speaking through that lens and teaching you. I am an evolutionary astrologer, and we call it an EA astrologer. So I'm not a Vedic astrologer. I'm not a traditional astrologer. I'm not a Hellenistic astrologer. I'm a modern astrologer, and I'm proud of it too. I love modern astrology because I feel like we are more complicated beings, and I don't feel that archaic definitions of who a woman or a man was, 2,000, 4,000 years ago is as applicable as modern astrology is, which is far more psychological. We're far more complex today. So look and see if your nodes are landing on a 0 or 29th degree. Now, I also have to tell you something. It's just a must. You've got to go watch my video called The Power of the Degrees, 0, 15, and 29. I go all into what these degrees mean and what they are doing. And if you have any zeros in your chart, if you have any 15s, and if you have any 29s, you really owe it to yourself to go watch that video. Not very many people talk about it. After I put that video out there on YouTube, I found a lot of people picked up the information, and now the news is sort of spreading. But when I did do that video, I couldn't find one video on that subject. And so I put it out there. So I'm glad to know that people are really learning about the energy that lives inside of the 0, 15, and 29th degree. It's imperative that you know. So as we talked about, the nodes stay in their signs for about 1.5 years, 18 months, but they take 18 years to go through the whole zodiac. So you'll have your first nodal axis return around your 18th birthday, your 18th year, around that time. And this is a time of destiny. This is a time of fated moments. Oh, this is Aurora. She's so cute. Aurora is on chemotherapy, and we don't know how much time we have. So I wanted her to make an appearance if she wanted to. You can be in the video. I was talking about this is fated moments. This is a time of you really standing in the portals of being drawn back to your past life energy and gifts and people and lessons and karmic energy. And this is also being drawn into the higher version of yourself. Now is a time where you're going to be making new decisions. You're going to be evolving into your next lifetime energy. You're going to be mastering the gifts that maybe have been hidden to you or not as utilized. But I want you to know that if this is your second nodal axis return or third or fourth, right now, your energy right now, standing on this pathway where you are right now, it's wanting to catapult you into your highest self, into the highest, best version of yourself. The nodes show us who you were in a past lifetime, who you were born to be in this lifetime, and who you're preparing to be in your next lifetime. And I cannot stress enough to do a very deep dive into your nodal story. One of the ways that you can do it is I have an entire masterclass, and then I have an all-day workshop for sale in my shop at shopsoulnavigation.com. And you can go buy that bundle. It's on sale right now. I put it on sale because of this video. I highly recommend that you do a deep dive into your nodes. And I go into the deeper context and truths of the signs in the nodes. And I also want to say that I have a lot of maybe 3 or 4 nodes videos for free that you can watch on my live tab. So go watch those as well. I just also really want to say, I encourage you to become a member of this channel. It's only $2.99. You support this work and more videos like this. I now have almost 300 videos in my library for you to learn deep astrology. And it's a nice way that you can support my work and support this channel. Help me continue doing this and putting this out there. And I would also like to ask you to please become a subscriber. And would you also like this video if you find it helpful? It is so nice to get this deep astrology out into the hands of other people. The North Node, having been in Aries for the last 1.5 years, since July 17th, 2023, it was asking us collectively to find our independence, our individuality, to become more courageous, to blaze new trails, to take bigger risks. And it would put like self-discovery, right? Discovery of ourselves in the world and within ourselves front and center. And it would encourage us over the last 1.5 years to comply less and set up our own rules. And so did you do any of that? Did you feel like you could tap into more courage? I know I certainly did. And did you tap into braver things? Did you get out of relationships that no longer served you, or maybe even relationships that bogged you down or weighed you down inside responsibilities that you no longer wanted. The Aries North Node basically has been encouraging us for the last year and a half to live bravely on our own terms, not to live in enmeshment, codependence, or in somebody else's rules and regulations or needs. The South Node was asking us to take an honest look where we might have been merged too deeply and maybe codependent or even enmeshment. Romantic and business partnerships were probably under deep scrutiny. It was a time to recalibrate our needs inside our partnerships. And we will have to probably let go of relationships at that time, right? In the past year and a half, did you let go of relationships or alliances that either forced us or encouraged us to sell out who we truly are? There is a tendency last year and a half, if you're not doing the North Node and you're doing the South Node and living in that Libra energy, and if you are a Libra, it would be easy to do that, to sort of give our power away. And then maybe by the end of the 18 months, you realize that, and you were like, no, I'm going to be unapologetically, authentically into my own needs, and I can't serve you anymore inside this partnership. So think about July 2023 till now, January 28th. Have you started or ended important relationships? Did you sign new contracts with people that would catapult you into a bigger, better, more courageous, bold life? Did you build new partnerships in your work? Did you say goodbye to obligations that held you down? Did you redefine the concept of what a healthy partnership is? Are you a Libra? Right? Also, that in the last 18 months, you could have gotten really impatient with your life, with your growth, with your dreams, with your ambitions, and, serving everybody else but yourself. The powerful lesson between the Aries and Libra nodal axis, what it gave us, hopefully, and I want to know your opinions. Please leave me a comment if you felt this, and also let me know if you have Aries or Libra planets. So the powerful lesson was it encouraged in all of us to prioritize ourselves, to really take a look at what you want out of life while learning what we truthfully need in our relationships and what do we truly value inside our relationships. Perhaps dreams, your goals, your ambition, your identity can work a little more boldly for your own agenda right now. Now, into the Pisces world we go, right? The land of unicorns and fairy tales. Well, also escapism and a lot of drugs and alcohol. Sometimes loneliness. But let me tell you something, and this is how the nodes work. Here's another pro tip for you. This is where we go deeper astrology. And a lot of the videos that I've seen, they give you really superficial answers about what this nodal axis is. And I don't want to do that. I want you to have a deeper awareness because this is a very, very deep North Node. Even if this isn't your nodal axis, it doesn't matter. This is still going to affect you. And it's going to be very, very profound. And it is sort of the guiding light of where we all collectively need to move and what spirit is bringing you, what spiritual lessons you have in store for your own self right now. So this isn't just for people with the North Node in Pisces. Although if you do have that, this is a cataclysmic time for you. I'm going to go into the different nodal axes and how they'll be affected, but I just can't do it all in one video. I wish I could. So remember that wherever the North Node is the higher realm for our own souls. I want to tell you how the nodes work. So this is the pro tip I was going to give you. When you're doing the North Node, especially in your own natal chart, when you're doing your specific North Node, you're really going to gravitate towards the healthy side of the North Node. I don't see too many people doing the low or shadow side of the North Node. Unless they have a malefic planet there, then they can more easily do the shadow side, but that's coming from the other planet. So if you have Mars or Jupiter or maybe Neptune or Saturn on your North Node, you could find yourself in the shadow side of that North Node. But with this Pisces North Node, we're either going to do the high side of it or we're not going to do it. And instead, we'll probably be doing the South Node, because oftentimes we do the south node in the shadow, in the lower octave. So the Pisces North Node, if you are going to do your Pisces North Node work, which the universe is bringing you right now, most likely you're going to do the high side of Pisces, which is gorgeous, which is magical, which is absolutely incredible. You are the flower growing between the two rocks in the desert. So it's the healthier realm of Pisces. It's the higher realm of Pisces. We are being asked to walk away from the unhealthy critical side of Virgo behind. So look at the blessings of the North Node in Pisces and look at the shadow side of the South Node in Virgo. And that will start to give you a picture of what we're supposed to do with this nodal access. Now, you don't really have to go do anything. This is going to be showing up in your life automatically. And then you get to make your free will choice of how you want to approach. We don't want to leave the virtuous parts of Virgo behind, just the unhealthy parts. It's very important to be aware and in touch with what is healthy about Virgo and what is unhealthy about Virgo. And with that, I really recommend you watch my whole Pisces playlist and you watch my whole Virgo playlist so you can understand these two energies and how they're playing out in your life this next year and a half. So we have the practical, critical, hardworking, detail-oriented, perfectionistic energy of Virgo competing with the imaginative, the loving, the dreaming, the dreamy, the spiritual essence of Pisces. And we're going to go deeper into the meanings of this nodal axis change. But first, I want to give you some perspective here because this is an echo chamber and these nodes have been here before. So the last time these nodes were in this exact placement was late June of 2006. So what were you doing summer 2006? And prior to that, they were in this combination again in December 1987. So what were you doing? If you were being born in 1987 of December-ish, then you have this nodal axis and you're having a nodal axis change. And then mid-April of 1969, were any of you born? Tell me what happened to you in 1969. And then if you're even older than that, July of 1950. So 1950, 1969, 1987, and 2006 is the trajectory in the timeline. I want you to go look at the events that happened in those years. There's an echo chamber. And if you were born in those years, you probably have this nodal axis. So check your nodes. Do the magic. You want to, get that magic elixir out of the Pisces energy for your life because it is so good. Pisces energy at the highest form is absolutely beautiful. It's glorious. It's when heaven parts and the angels sing for real. And you might be able to feel that song in your heart. So expect echoes from these previous periods when the nodes were in those signs to resurface, but it's going to have a different twist and a different spin, but it might have a similar effect. And it will be taking place in the same exact houses in your chart every single nodal return. So what happened to you in 2006, 1987, 1969, or 1950 if you're that old? Journal it. What was the theme? What changed? What happened to you? So I'll share with you my story. In 2006, I had my one and only child. So she was born on the 29th degree of Pisces and Virgo. In 1987, I started to truly find my own identity because I was outgrowing university life. I was sort of done with it and I was already beyond it. And I found what I truly believed in. And I also found a desire to expand. I went to school in Tucson, Arizona, and I wanted to live in New York City, which I did. So expansive desire for my authentic self to thrive in. And I was developing an awareness for that. I would say it matured me at that time. I became mature. And then in 1969, what happened? Well, my parents moved me from urban Chicago, like city center Chicago. My parents lived on the south side of Chicago. So urban life Chicago, right? They moved me out to Tucson, Arizona, and we lived near an Indian reservation. I was exposed to all kinds of culture because I had a family that babysat me while my parents worked. And this family was 9 people big, and they were a Mexican family that lived in Tucson, and I was the only gringa. And I had all these little brothers and sisters that were Mexican, and we ate Mexican food and spoke Spanish. And it was pure glee and joy. But I saw the world outside of myself. And we lived in a trailer and we had horses. My dad worked with the Native Americans, and my mom was a school teacher in Tucson, teaching English literature. My world got really big again. I also think even at 3 years old, it sort of made me grow up fast, right? And so there's an echo chamber here, if you think about it. That first one was my first experience into this whole different world, right? Like, wow, the world got so big. The second one at university, I wanted to leave Tucson and go explore New York City. I wanted the expansiveness. And then the third one, my daughter literally breathed new life into me where I would never be the same again. And my heart was the most expansive it's ever been. So expansiveness, maturity, and responsibility were a part of my themes that played out. So I don't have this nodal access, but this is how this nodal access played out in my life in those years. So what is your story? Will you journal it, calculate it, and come back here and write notes in the comments and let me know, where is this taking place in your chart? We're going to need, as I needed in all three of those instances, the first, the second, and the third, we need a little dose of faith right now. We need to flow and trust ourselves in our own lives, even if it feels bleak. I always have to remember that there is an agenda for higher good, even when we can't see it or we don't know it. Now, check out your birth chart and see where you have Pisces and Virgo. And this house placement is critical because it's a big piece of the storyline shift in your life and what's going to happen to you on a personal level. I tell you what the nodes shift will bring. I want you to also remember to blend in the meaning of the house that the Pisces and Virgo fall into in your own chart. Many of you already know this. We're going to go through it really quickly, okay? And then in future videos, if you leave me a comment, like and subscribe, tell me if you want me to go through the houses in more deeper detail. But honestly, I could talk to you about the houses 1 hour each, and I don't know if we have that much time. I mean, I have so many other big, major, massive 2025 transits I've got to talk about. I just have so much to give you guys. I just don't know how I'm going to do it all. If the nodes are in your first house, we are talking about your identity, your body. The second is your money, your sense of self, your self-esteem, your self-value, and your resources. The third is your communication, your mind, short trips, and it is how you learn and how you perceive life. The fourth is your home, your mother, your family, your roots, your heritage, yourself. The fifth is your creativity, maybe your children, your authentic self, getting authentic, taking off the mask, and your massive creativity. The sixth house is your work, your daily life, your routines, and your pets. And the seventh house is your relationships, your partnerships, how you do love, how you do connection. It also can affect how you intermingle with others in society. The eighth house is deeper transformational lessons will come to you, maybe losing parts of your life to metamorphose new parts of your life. The ninth house is your highest self, your truths, long distance travel, your philosophical belief system, your spiritual or religious reality can change right now. The 10th house is your legacy. Who do you want to be in the world? It could also be your career. The 11th house is your friendships, your personal goals, the organizations you want to invest into, the ones you don't want to, and how you want to pay it forward, right? Good deeds done unto you. How do you want to pay those forward? And if this is landing in your 12th house, this is your spiritual relationship with the divine, learning unconditional love for yourself, and releasing your imprisoned self, getting out of jail. What's your jail? Especially if you have Pisces, North Node, either node. If you have a node in the 12th, tell me about your imprisoned self. What are you imprisoned into? So the other thing, and tell me if you want a video on this, are the aspects to the other planets. Without the aspects, we really can't know what's happening with these nodes. So what aspect do Pisces and Virgo make in your chart? Are they sitting on your sun? Are they opposing your sun? Are they sitting in trine to your Mercury? Right? And that's a little bit advanced. So tell me how many people want that video, because that's a little bit advanced. My client asked me the other day, what's more important, the sign of the nodes, the houses of the nodes? Which one do I study the most? And this is what I said. I said they're very, very critical. Now, the signs of the nodes, here's your pro tip, okay? The signs of the nodes are critical, but I want you to think of your 8th grade class, or let's say your freshman high school class. I want you to look around at all those people. Just imagine, okay? Tell me who's in that class. Jimmy, Johnny, who's in that class? Olivia, Emma, what are the names? You're looking at all those people. They all have the same node as you, most likely. You are all collectively in one bucket. So is it important? Yes, it is. Are you anything like those people? No, you're not. No, you're not. I have 4 friends from elementary school. That's all I can relate to. So you're nothing like them. The sign is important, but it's generational, and it shows us what the focus of your generation as a collective society is bringing to the world, okay? Yes, it's important to know that theme song, but now let's put it in a house and it's personal to you, and you can only know that by your birth time. That house is critical to know what subject that theme song is playing in. And now the truth of the story, if it's going to be challenging or hard, or what part of your life is it truly going to alter, is the aspect to the planets inside your natal chart. So where Pisces and Virgo falls in your natal chart is the actual personalization, deepest personalization of the nodes. So when you go read an article about the nodes, they're telling you the sign. They're not telling you the house, and they're not telling you the aspect. And that's what I'm doing in this video too. So if you want the other parts, it's really deep. I might give those pieces just to my members only, because I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. So please become a member and enjoy all my behind the scenes videos where I do even deeper lessons into astrology. So the aspects are critical. You will see more of that work in my Nodes Masterclass and my Nodes workshop in Seattle, which you can buy the bundle in over there in my shop. I want to bring you the perspective first of the shift and what it means and what lessons we're supposed to embrace right now. So right now, all of us are supposed to remove our judgments about our lives, ourselves, others, and develop more compassion for ourselves and for the people that we love and for the world. We're also truly supposed to try to let go of our anxiety. I want you to remember something from me, okay? And I'm going to remind myself too. Nothing good ever is born out of anxiety. Nothing. We are learning how to develop more faith in a higher power than ourselves. You know, the men that run this ego-based world, all those men that run it, yeah, that's all ego. That's not the higher power. That's not the higher power. The higher power is the creator. So we're here to value the spiritual path in trying to understand where we came from. We're the stardust. And we are trying to see the value of the spiritual path over the monetary path right now, or the materialistic path. We're here now to develop the ability, are you ready, to see the silver lining. Yes, to see the positive possibilities, to see the lessons inside the challenges that can benefit us. We're here to develop our connection to the divine, our spiritual channel, to talk to our angels, to remember our dreams and the messages, the important messages that our crossed over loved ones, our spiritual ancestors, and our spirit guides and guardian angels are bringing to us. We are here to learn how to adapt, how to bend, and how to be flexible. We're here to learn the multifaceted parts of ourselves. We're here to look and see how these lessons play out by the house that they fall into in your chart. So for example, if you have your Pisces in the second house, then all that I just mentioned will play out and will hopefully benefit you around your material life, your resources, and ultimately your self-worth. And we're asked to step away right now from the lower side of that shadow side of Virgo. So look and see where Virgo lands in your chart. And this is the place where we are hyper anxious. This is where we overanalyze, overthink. This is where we're obsessive. This is where we exaggerate the faults. This is where we can be highly critical, where we think we're going to die if we don't do it perfectly. This is where we have that relationship to perfectionism. This is where we're very rigid, where we get stuck. And you could land in this house, especially if you have a lot of Virgo planets, for the next 18 months, but you're not supposed to. This is the part of your chart that will need extra love, extra oomph, an extra power motor attached to it. This is the house that will need healing. So focus on the Pisces side of this and letting go of that wherever you have Virgo in your chart, because you could get overworked and overrun wherever you have Virgo in your chart, because that's where the South Node is going to live for 18 months. This is so important. So the subject matter of the house in which the South Node is in, I want you to try to alleviate your worries and just sit in the trust and the surrender and just believe and have faith. You, my sweet friend, will be okay. So again, if you have the Virgo in the second house, this is about releasing worry and your anxiety and your perfectionism around your resources and around making money, around your self-worth. You're not just worth something based on what you do or if you make money. You're worth something no matter what. You are a spiritual, gorgeous, beautiful being. This is a time to heal the insecurities of wherever Virgo lives in your chart. Virgo is very insecure in the South Node. So wherever that South Node in Virgo is right now, and this might span, if you're doing Placidus house system with me, this might span 2 or 3 different houses. But right now it's at the 29th degree. So wherever you have 29 degrees in your natal chart, you can go look in your progress chart too. And you can look in your composite chart too to see how this is going to affect your relationships. And you can buy all those charts, by the way, in my shop if you want to. They're absolutely gorgeous. So wherever you have this Pisces Virgo energy in your chart, remember is that you're right where you're supposed to be. God might be delivering you more of what you need rather than what you want. And also remember, there's no perfect outcome. Just try your hand at new goals, new desires, new dreams, new wishes, whatever you are imagining, and let those doors open up to new paths. Let it unfold very naturally and adapt and bend and be willing to change courses, be willing to see things in a more creative and imaginary way. Just try out your new plans, even if you don't have it in perfect order yet. This is also a time where we need to develop a sense of sanctuary and peace, and where you may need to have a private room, a private office, a private space that feels like it supports your reflection and your meditation and your thoughtfulness and gives you a place of solitude to recharge your batteries. And this is a time for you to create a new vision in your life for whatever theme Pisces sits in. You might not even have this vision yet. It just started. It's at the 29th degree. It's at the anaretic degree. It's in challenge and in crisis until February 17th. And then it opens up to the 28th degree, 27th. And by the time it gets to the 15th degree, now you can see your vision. Now you can. It's so exciting. So be open right now to the magic beans that are being given to you. I always talk about them as beans, not seeds, because we're not growing daisy gardens. We're growing our beanstalk to live in. I want you to be wide open like a Pisces to see and receive the magic right now, the spiritual messages right now. This is a time to really let go of self-criticism and criticism about others. I've really been challenged with this, and I am trying to see only the good things in the people who really annoy me. I'm trying to see the good things. Always. Let go of the criticism for yourself and for those around you. Remember that you can do better work when you're not coming from a defensive place, but instead you are open and you are fluid and you are adaptable and changeable, and you're going to surrender in some way over the next 18 months your own ego agenda. And that is so necessary in order to make your life better. This is also a critical time in the next 18 months to realize that not everything is life or death. You may feel like your life depends on this test score, or not being late, or doing this certain thing, doing things correctly. But there can be a gold mine found in the mistakes. Are there any mistakes? Are there? So I want you to let go of your over-attachment to any rules that you have placed on yourself that burden you so terribly that they keep you frozen in fear and not productive. Do not create extra burdens for yourself, like feeling like you must be impeccable, you must be perfect, like rigidity, especially in your work. Like, give yourself a little wiggle room. Be nice to be your best friend, be your guardian angel. Watch out for you. Take care of you. It's very difficult to do because you've probably been very rewarded in some way for being perfect. But that's not accurate. It's not fair. It's not right. Now you're learning that it's inside the messy imperfections that you can find more juice. You can find actually sweeter things. You can actually find compassion and empathy and understanding inside your tiny flaws. I also want to tell you, this is a time to sort of put your analytical, reasoning, practical, pragmatic, critical thinking aside a little bit and just open up to more intuition to guide you. Like, your gut feeling probably is not wrong. It might be scary, but it's more relaxed when you operate that way. And it's actually, once you let your intuition really start to guide you and you see that it really doesn't steer you wrong, it can be more comfortable and actually more loving to your soul's journey. So don't focus every single day on what's wrong with yourself and what you need to perfect and what's wrong with other people and what's wrong with the world at large, because we know there's plenty of wrong things. But try to find that one flower that's sprouted, that has grown between the rocks in the desert, and know that that flower is you. That is your soul. Try to let go of your intense worrying and your frantic, manic mind and spinning out and spinning into a spiral, and practice disengagement. Practice the art of lovely attachment, not mean, angry, punishing, punitive detachment, but just detach a little bit. Ask yourself, is this really my job to fix, or is this your problem to fix? You don't need to go and rescue and fix everybody. You can't fix anybody but yourself. So I want you to also practice solitude. Rest a little longer. Sleep a little more, go to bed a little bit early. Stay in touch mostly. This is the biggest part. Stay in touch. Keep your finger on the pulse with your heart's desire. Remember, it is very difficult to materialize your goals, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, that which lives in your imagination for your life, when they are born out of worry, fear, and insecurity. I find it absolutely ironic, baffling, and even confusing that we're here to let go of anxiety while we're simultaneously living in a world that creates a gargantuan, massive amount of anxiety, right? I know it feels like a trick. It feels like a fool's game. It feels like we're being played. Maybe it is a divine trick. I just know that this is truly our collective lesson to learn. And I think we would not learn it if we did not have to. So while we have this massively anxious world, or this world that is creating massive anxiety for a lot of people, we're here to learn how to be calm, how to be unconditionally loving, how to not march forward with just criticism and fault finding. Right now, we're supposed to learn that our only value in the world is not when we are in the grind of service to others, but when we are not just fixing things or making things better. Our worth does not actually depend on how helpful or what a slave we are to the system. It's asking us to go beyond the material world and expand into the spiritual parts of life that allow us to expand our consciousness and our awareness, and where we can only feel the wholeness of life. When we experience this wholeness, we find a new kind of serenity, happiness, joy, and peacefulness. When I went to Starbucks the other day with my daughter, we live in a part of town where you don't see very many homeless people. I mean, it's very, very rare. I don't even know if I've ever even seen one in 18 years in this area of town. We went to Starbucks and there was a homeless man sleeping on the bench. And I was immediately shocked, like, wow, whoa. That was my immediate reaction internally. And my daughter's reaction was, and she has that 29th degree in the 12th house, her immediate reaction was, oh, right? I went, wow. And she went, oh, that's sad, right? So she's got it. I love that. And then I went, yeah, that's really sad. You'll catch yourselves and it's okay. But then remind yourself and then sink into the love and empathy and compassion and sympathy for others. Step away from fixing everyone. You don't have to be the fixer. I didn't have to go and fix that man's life, but I looked at him with compassion. Sometimes we can find more magic in our world when we really surrender the problems of other people, when we let them fix themselves and when we realize it's not our responsibility. And right now, your planned pathway with all of the tiny details all planned out might be interrupted. Welcome those interruptions. I know it's really hard, but welcome them. Learn to be flexible and release the destination. Release the 5-year plan. Do the right now plan. Don't do the 5-year plan. The 5-year plan is unrealistic. too many curveballs. The world is moving too fast. The 5-year plan worked when you had one job, one spouse, one car, and one house for 35, 45 years. Okay? Be willing to end up wherever you are and see all the beauty all around you all the time, wherever you are, because it could develop a new sense of purpose in you if you're open. If you're open to all the magic, it could take you into a new vision, a new dream, a new goal, a new hidden space inside of you that has been yet to be revealed. It's so exciting. I'm like a preacher now. I think sometimes about how I left that urban south side of Chicago to go live near an Indian reservation to be cared for by a giant Mexican family when I was just 2, 3, 4 years old while my parents worked, and how that landed me surprisingly right where I needed to be here in my soul's calling with you now. But if you would have asked me at the time, like, hey, what do you think about this situation for yourself right now? I might not have chosen it. I might have said, no, I'll do something else. I might have just said, I'd like to just stay in Chicago, please. I mean, that sounds exciting, but I didn't. And I'm here now with you. So trust a little bit more. Right now, the world is kind of uncomfortable with change, maybe massively uncomfortable with change. And oftentimes we just want to resist the change. But unfortunately, the world and yourself right now is really, really unknown. We're in the fog. We can't see it all. And I don't think we've ever been in the world like this before, ever. And on a personal level, I want you to try to find the blessings, try to welcome the changes inside your own personal life that your life is creating. And we're experiencing over the next 18 months to really stand in very purposeful work, purposeful spiritual work. To find that work that has greater value and greater meaning in it, you have to be open, not just to be a cog in the wheel, but to also do our spiritual work. Now, maybe you have to do cog in the wheel type of work. So then in your free time and on weekends and at nights and in the mornings, you can do your spiritual work, the work that is creative and imaginative, helpful and healing. And so we're not always paid for our spiritual work, but put it somewhere, put meaningful, creative expression and work. It could just be songwriting. It could be poetry writing, that feels significant to your soul's health and wellness. Not just walking blindly through the day doing meaningless work. If your meaningless work pays you enough to feel free and to feel whole and gives you time to expand and be inspired in the imaginative world of your spirituality, of your divine connection, do that. So then you can eventually lend your spiritual work to the world. The Pisces North Node is encouraging us to love in a spiritual and unconditional way, yourself and others. And I invite you to find the love in your life and inside yourself every single day. I want you to love you, and I want you to deepen your relationship with yourself. You are the guardian of yourself. I don't care how old you are. If you're 12 years old, you are your guardian. Take care of you. Take care of the little person that still lives inside of you. That's why I oftentimes say we're all just 4 years old. Take care of that little 4-year-old that still lives inside of you. You are its guardian. Deepen your concept of love. Find it every single day in your life somewhere, even if it's falling in love with an activity or an animal or a neighbor or a friend or a lover or a job or a passion or creative exercise. Love is the name of the game right now. Love is the name of the game. Unconditional, non-judgmental love. We are here right now to try to begin to understand our spiritual mission, our creative mission. Our imagination needs to come into light right now, to lean into our higher power rather than just stay making money in the material world. We're not asking. We are being asked to feel life more deeply, not to shut down our emotions or escape from them, not to live in worry and anxiety, but to start to develop our gifts of our own tuition through calmness, through solitude, through meditation, through getting rid of the noise, to live simply, to build a life of simple pleasures, and to build a life that has a sense of peacefulness in it, even in a world of chaos. Mostly, I think we can accomplish this by being thankful and grateful for our lives in every situation that we have experienced thus far, because it has made us who we are today. To be in service to others as it is in alignment with our soul's calling and our soul's desires, and to dissolve the rigidity and to stay open-minded and open-hearted and to accept gracefully hard, terrible, awful lessons that are coming our way, and to see and find the silver linings that live inside of those lessons, and to become energetically passionate, to fall in love with our lives and the great mission that is called our life. Letting go of all of the attachments that keep us down, that keep us insecure, that hurt us, and to develop a quiet joy that allows us to expand our creativity, our imagination, and the love that lives within our hearts. We are in the lesson of deep spiritual acceptance and understanding, even if we don't understand what the exact purpose of our path is. Even when the world is chaotic and confusing and we have no clue where we're going. Still, you have your soul fall in love with you. We personally can develop a safe sanctuary inside of our souls for ourselves and for others. And this, my sweet friends, is the highest calling for Pisces North Node.